just going to go out and say this straight out. The City of Oakland should file a lawsuit against the Oakland Raiders. And it's for not dealing with the Raiders in good faith. And I say that because Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, has shown the habit of making statements which lead one to turn their head and say, hey, I thought he told me we were doing X, when it turns out he was doing Y. In this instance, he told a gentleman recently in another publication that we've got the land. And yes, it has been reported that the Raiders and the Chargers finalized the deal to purchase the Carson land in May of this year. But consider this. We had February, March, April, and May. February 19th, toward the end of February, the Raiders and the Chargers announced that they were joining up to build a stadium in Carson as a just in case something couldn't work out, right? But then I started to do research back based on the statements, the public statements of Mark Fabiani, the San Diego Chargers spokesperson, and he said that the Chargers had opened conversations with Starwood regarding that piece of land, that same piece of land they finalized the deal on purchasing this year, last summer. Now the question is, given Mark Davis' public statements regarding we've got the land, is when did the Raiders come in and were they jointly involved in those negotiations last year? If the Raiders were, they directly lied to the City of Oakland and to Oakland Mayor Gene Kwan and to the current Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf in saying that we're doing everything we can to stay in Oakland prior to the February 19th announcement. And the only way to get the proper documents to see if the Raiders are actually telling the truth, frankly speaking, is for the city to file a lawsuit and depose everybody. That's the only way to get to the bottom of this, because to this point, the Raiders' behavior has been careless and cavalier. They act like nothing's going to be done, that there's no other kind of power they have to answer to. They act like everyone has to answer to them. And that's not how business is done. I don't care who you are in the world. You don't handle your business like that. It's ripe for error. And Mark Davis has committed tons of errors, even down to saying to me, hey, look, put together a stadium proposal, which obviously he didn't take me seriously when I did it, because I actually did do one that actually works. But then they didn't do the courtesy of following up with me and saying, hey, let's have a meeting. Let's talk about what you did. Yes, Ziddy, we understand that you're not in this to be a developer. Yes, we understand that you're doing this to help out. Yes, we understand you're not asking for money. But even with all that, the only people that met with me were Oakland Councilmember Rebecca Kaplan and Scott McKibben, head of the Joint Powers Authority. We had a great meeting went over every item. But I digress. It's one example. The Raiders were never serious about working out a deal here, even with Floyd Gephardt. And the only aspect of the deal they liked with Floyd Gephardt is the part regarding the purchase of that percentage, 10% of the Raiders or so, because that's what the NFL wanted the Raiders to do to begin with, and they liked his approach. But that said nothing for the issue of stadium financing. The stadium financing plan was ridiculous. And as Eric Grubman, the NFL's executive vice president for business affairs, has said more often than not, Oakland's proposal is more a land deal than a stadium deal. We have a town hall meeting coming up this Thursday. You think Mark Davis would be savvy enough to say, you know, we love Oakland. We're still doing everything we can to stay there. Instead, he's basically said, we've done everything we can. He has not done everything he can. And we've tried. And they really haven't. Because think about this logically. First of all, if they really wanted to make something happen in Oakland, they would put out a call for their own developers, their own architects, their own artist renditions. Even if they don't know how to develop a stadium properly, they can always call on the NFL to help them, right? They didn't do that. So the Raiders' behavior, again, is just like, hey, we're having fun, we can say what we want to about you. We can do this. We can say anything we want to about you. We have no consequences. Nothing you can do after. We can go anywhere we want to and that. Heck with you, City of Oakland. Heck with you, Oakland people. We tried. You didn't give us what we wanted. That's pretty bad.